y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Andrea and today we are going to be talking about the new Pat Mcgrath palette. This is the Celestial Divinity palette and it is 2020's holiday collection palette. There are some quads also in this. I don't believe those have released yet. This released by itself on the Pat Mcgrath website first. I do believe that's the only place you can get this right now, but I believe it is coming to Sephora soon. In today's video, we're going to do some swatches, some comparison swatches to the other two Pat Mcgrath palettes that I own. And then I'm going to do an eye look with y'all, and then I'll give y'all my first impressions. So let's do an overview of the palette. I'm going to read y'all the description. Real quick, I just want to show y'all the box. It looks exactly like, oops. It looks exactly like the palette. And then on the back, you just have the ingredients. This is different from the other packaging that I have gotten in my Pat Mcgrath palettes. And then this packaging is also different. It's cardboard and it opens like this, which is obviously completely different from the black lacquered packaging of her other palettes. So let me read y'all the description on the website. It says, prepare for an eye extravaganza with Pat Mcgrath's first ever Mthrshp mega palette starring a treasure trove of 18 seductive shades. With this alluring array of glitter, shimmer, matte, and iridescent shadows, you're ready to embark on infinite eye fantasies ranging from the subliminal to the sublime to the subversive, excuse me. Let makeup majorness ensue with 12 Cult Classic pigments directly from the lab's vault, so the top row, this is what the palette looks like. This row and this row are apparently from the Star Wars collection that released. I never got any of that collection. I wasn't necessarily interested in it. I do believe that there was a large palette that looked like this. And then there were also two smaller palettes that have the more cardboard packaging. They're her like $65 palettes. And I think the top row and the bottom row are from those two palettes. And then the new shades are in this center row right here. So if you do have those other two palettes, this may not be for you since you're only getting 6 new shades. I don't have either of those, so for me, these are all new. And it says, vivid purples, glamorous greens, and mesmerizing metallics, along with 6 never-before-slayed hues, which is the middle row. Ignite artistry at its most exquisite with this couture color collection. So it sounds like there's quite a few formulas in this, which I'm super excited about. The names of the shades are on the back of the palette right here. I wish they were on the front of the palette, but at least they're on the back and they're not like on the plastic sleeve in the center. You do get a nice big mirror in this as well. And then it's got these little ribbons to hold the mirror up. I don't know that I love that. I would rather my palette go flat, but it's not that big of a deal to me. So the big deal about this palette is that it retails for $78 and you get 18 shades, which is much cheaper than the rest of the Pat Mcgrath palettes. These retail for $125 and there are 10 shades in these. So you are sacrificing packaging on these. This is super luxe. It's very heavy and it's like a hard lacquered packaging. And then obviously this is cardboard. I would say that this is probably more recyclable than this is, but I'm probably never gonna ever get rid of these unless it's like 20 years old, you know? Maybe in 20 years I won't be as into makeup as I am now. So let's dive right into swatches. I'm gonna live swatch these for y'all. I'm gonna start with this top row and go this way. I have not swatched these yet, so my first reactions will be with y'all. So, here we go. Whoa. So this does actually have some glitter particles in it. I feel like these red type shades, these red shimmer shades, ooh, you can really see the pigmentation on there, are in so many palettes. And to me, I don't love them, so I can live without that. Now this shade, I live for. Wow, these are going such a long way. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Woo, I'm excited. Here's the first matte. I've said this in previous videos where I've talked about Pat McGrath shadows. The mattes are not my favorite formula. Hopefully I feel differently. This is so pigmented and it is like gliding on super nicely. It's like a warm chocolatey leaning a little bit purple brown. I'll go over the names when I'm done swatching with y'all. I have a feeling this is going to be a fall staple. Look at that purple. Y'all know purples and pinks are my favorite. That gold is pretty. It's like a very bright yellowy gold. I used to not like bright yellowy golds like that, but I'm starting to like them more nowadays. The Natasha Denona Gold palette is the one that got me to start enjoying those. Oh, I'm so excited for this shade. We're on the second row now. That's nice. This shade I'm super excited for. I feel like there's some duochromes in this palette. You can kind of see that purple to, is that like a taupe shift? Oh my gosh, look how bright this is. It's almost got like a fuchsia shift to it. So pretty. I love olive, like clothing and stuff wise, but I'm not really into green makeup. And I feel like we're starting to see a lot of olive in eyeshadows like this one. So I'm hoping that I can start to enjoy these. This shade is really pretty. It's got kind of like a deep, almost black base, and then it has like a limey shift to it. It's quite pretty. I live for bronzy copper shades. I wear those all the time. So I'm always, ooh, yes. So here's another duochrome shade. It's got like a fuchsia red base and then like a bluey purple cool tone shift to it. That's really pretty. Super cool. I feel like there's so many shade options in this palette that I have no idea what look I'm gonna do with this today. I did watch Alicia from Kinky Sweat, her video on this today, and she, as I was doing my base makeup, and she straight up said, do your eyes first. I'm like, well, I already failed at that today. Okay, I think this is another duochrome shade. Yes. I am living for that. Ugh. That is so pretty. Ooh, that looks really black, but it does have a purple like glitter to it. And then we have another duochrome. I kind of want to use this. Oh, yes. Oh, that's super creamy too. It's like the MAC blue brown Is that what it's called? Pigment? I feel like everyone is coming out with that shade. It's an easy duochrome to make, I think. I'm actually quite excited for this next shade. It's a matte. It's like a super dusty, warm mauve. I'm running out of room. Oh, yes. I love that shade. I have a feeling this is going to be good too. Oh my gosh. These are so creamy and reflective. All right, last one. This looks more coppery in the pan, like warm, almost rust. And then when I swatch it, it almost has like a pinkier shift to it. So I guess this is another duochrome because you can kind of see that brown rust shade and then the shift. Wow. So there's the whole palette. Oh my gosh. I'm living for that shade. I'm going to read y'all off the shade names real quick. So we have Saturnalia, Bronze Nebula, Major Mahogany, Lunar Champagne, Violet Void, Gold Standard, Venomous Void, Odyssey, Fuchsia Shock, Megabyte, Bronze, Electron, Cosmic, Smoked Amethyst, Dragonfly, Venetian Orchid, Galactic Gold, and Corruption. So now I'm going to compare to my other two Pat McGrath palettes. I have Bronze Seduction and the Divine Rose 2, Mthrshp 8. So the first shade I see that is similar is this one, and I already know the difference between these two. And then this shade right here, Saturnalia. The one in the new palette has glitter, like, I don't want to say chunks, like it's chunky, but it just has glitter flakes in it. Whereas the one from Bronze Seduction is super smooth and creamy and just foiled. So this is Bronze Seduction, and this is the new palette, Celestial Divinity. And as you can see, this one is actually a little bit more red and this one's a little bit more pink. So I'll go ahead and swatch the browns too. I'm going to take this shade and this dark brown right here, Major Mahogany. This is Bronze Seduction and Major Mahogany. As you can see, they're quite different. This is definitely more cool toned, does not swatch well either. More cool toned, and this is more red / purple based. So one of the things that this palette is missing for me is these special shades right here that are in the black lacquered packaging Pat McGrath palettes. There's nothing like these in this other palette I'm just showing you. This is one of the shades, but it's so like flaky and metallic and glossy. They don't have super pigmented bases. They're just pure shine. So this palette doesn't have any of that formula, which is a little disappointing, but it is the cheaper price tag, so that is possibly why we aren't getting any of those. So I'll go ahead and do this bronze shade right here. And then this bronzy and this coppery shade, just to show you. This is Bronze Seduction. And this does have kind of this kind of formula a little bit, but it's got a super pigmented base, as you can see. And then these two are Celestial Divinity. So as you can see, they're very different. To me, those are not similar. They might look similar on the eyes, potentially. They're just different formulas too. This one definitely, from Bronze Seduction, has more glitter in it. And these two are more of a metallic formula. Moving on to Divine Rose 2. I'm also gonna add in this purpley shade next to these browns. Ooh, she's pigmented. So again, this is Bronze Seduction and this is Celestial Divinity. This is more purpley plum and this is just got a little bit more red in it and it's more brown. So I'm gonna swatch these two purple shades. Purpley pink shades. This is Cosmic and this is Odyssey from Celestial Divinity. And then I'm gonna take these two shades. I would swatch this, but there's nothing like it. It's a trio chrome. They're not gonna be the same. So these two look a little bit similar, but this one's darker and a little bit more plum, and this one's a little bit more rosy. And I'll go ahead and swatch this. We already swatched a couple these bronzy shades. Oh, where am I gonna put this? So it's right here. This leans a little bit more pink. It's hard to tell. I feel like it has a little bit of a pink shift. And the texture is completely different from these shades. These are a little bit chunkier, not in a bad way. This is just extremely smooth. That's how a lot of the shimmer shades in these black lacquered packaging are. They're very, very smooth to the touch. Even like this one, it's just so, like, look how easily it is to get all over the place. I guess I can swatch this too. This is Extraterrestrial. They just glide all over. So you don't have that smooth, glidey formula in here, which is okay. These are just a little bit thicker. I think that's it for all the similar shades. So let's dive right into the tutorial portion of this video. Okay, so I already primed my eyelids and I used the Pretty Vulgar eyeshadow primer. I thought it was gonna have a special name. And then I set that with the Beauty Bakerie Flower Powder, which I'm loving both of these right now. So I think these are some of the shades we're gonna end up playing with today. I'm obsessed with these three. They're so, so pretty. Okay, so let's dive in. I'm gonna start with my Kitco 127S brush. And we're gonna dive right into this shade called Venetian Orchid. And I'm just gonna run that through the crease and on the outer V. Ooh. This is blending very easily. Oh my gosh. Can y'all hear those birds? I swear, I cannot catch a freaking break. I just let my dog outside because he was barking at me. Oh my god, I just covered y'all up, didn't I? This is blending out quite nicely. As I've said 100 times, I can have some issues with Pat McGrath mattes. I'm hoping that that changes with this palette. And I'm just taking a Morphe E27. This is clean, and I'm just Trying to buff that out a little bit. So now I'm gonna take my MAC 217 and I'm going to dive into this dark purple called Venomous Void. I'm just going to pack that on the outer corner and run it through the crease. This shade is quite pretty. Just doing windshield wiper motions. That is actually blending out quite nicely. I'm going to take a Morphe E18 and I'm just going to use that same shade and I'm going to try to pack some of this out here where I'm not getting it to stick as well. Back to my MAC 217. These are blending great. So much easier than the other Pat McGrath mattes that I've worked with. And it's not taking me as long to blend them out. This dark shade is taking a bit to build up, but I would rather that be the case and then blend out easier than them being like weirdly pigmented and not being able to blend them. I'm not perfect at blending eyeshadow, but I like to be good at it and I will blend for a long time if I need to. And I just normally struggle a little bit with Pat McGrath shades. I'm going back into that Morphe E18 and I'm just gonna do the same thing to pack it out here. And I'm gonna go back in with that first shade we used and the My Kitco brush again. I'm just gonna add a little bit back in. I feel like we lost a little bit of it. Okay, it's looking great. I'm just gonna go in with my NYX glitter glue on my lids. I'm gonna take this shade right here called Dragonfly, and we're gonna pack that on the lid, and I'm gonna use my finger for that. Oh, yeah. Y'all, how stunning is this shade? I'm obsessed. This eye look is taking like little to no effort. I love when that happens. Sometimes I have to blend and blend and blend and blend things, and that is not the case today, which is so nice. I am taking this a little bit higher up into my crease a little bit, just because I feel like it. So I did get some fallout from the glitter shade we just put on, and I did not have any fallout from the mattes. I am going to try to wipe some of this away. I haven't set my face yet, so I can kind of touch up my concealer. So I'm going back in with my My Kitco brush and the deep burgundy shade, and I'm just gonna pat over the edges of this, just a smidge. And a little bit into the crease. Oh my God. I'm obsessed. I'm so obsessed. So I'm going back into my Morphe E18 and into the first shade we used. And I'm just gonna run that on the lower lash line. And now I'm going to go into the shade right here called Odyssey. I'm going to take this Bodyography Pro flat shader brush and I'm gonna wet it and pick some up on this brush. I'm doing this because we're going on the lower lash line and I don't want to have a bunch of fallout. Okay. This isn't working in my favor. Okay, I'm using this Coastal Scents brush. It's very tiny. This seems to be picking up the product a little bit better. I'm just gonna spray that. Okay, maybe don't use this shade on your lower lash line. It's quite chunky and it's not working for me. I'm gonna try my finger last time. This isn't working out how I wanted it to, but I feel like we've already started. I'm gonna go in with this shade right here and try and see if that goes better. This one seems less chunky. Okay. That is going better, but I'm getting it everywhere. So let me clean that up with concealer. So I cleaned this side up with concealer and it looks much better. What we did to one side, we must do to the other. So unfortunately, I'm gonna add a little bit of that crumbly shade. I really don't want to. But I think it gave it a certain color, so I'm doing it. Oh, that is working a little better this time, but still not great. So I'm going into that last shade we used again, and this shade has like a blue shift to it. It's pretty. And again, I'm gonna clean that up with concealer. If you did your eyes first with this palette, that would prevent all of this. I just did not do that today. Are you guys reading anything or watching anything good right now? I started reading a book called The Housekeeper for my book club, and it's really good so far. I am loving it. And I also started the show Superstore on Hulu. It's got America Ferrera, I think that is how you say her name. She was in the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants movies. Anyway, she's like one of the main characters in it. It is so funny. Like, it's one of those shows you can have on in the background and you're not gonna miss stuff, but totally underrated. Love it. Also, the concealer I'm using is the Benefit Boiing. Okay, I'm loving that. So I'm gonna do my inner corner now, and I'm going to go in with this champagne-y gold shade. I'm gonna take my Sephora Pro Flat Concealer brush like always. And I'm going to spray that with some MAC Fix Plus. This shade looks a little bit chunky as well, so I'm just trying to prevent more fallout. I really wish there was kind of like a pinky inner corner shade in this palette. I feel like that would have been awesome. None of these pink shades are light enough for me though. Dark skin tones could probably use this shade as an inner corner highlight. That would be stunning. That shade is kind of duochromy also. So pretty. This side is going on better because my brush has more Fix Plus on it than when I did the first side. Yeah, I definitely would have liked a pink inner corner shade like the one that's in her highlighter palette. That would have been good. I would use that, but I'm trying to use just shades from the palette today. What do y'all think? Should I highlight the brow bone too? I think I'm going to. I'm going to use that same shade. These shades probably don't need Fix Plus as much for like the lid, but if you're going on the lower lash line or the inner corner or brow bone, it's probably best to use, like, wet your brush so that you're not getting as much chunkiness everywhere. Woo! Look at that shine. Okay, I'm glad I highlighted the brow bone. And I'm gonna go in with this Moda Pro or Moda Studio blending brush. This came in a set. I don't think there's a name on it. And I'm just gonna, I always blend out my brow bone shades, although this isn't blending as well as I would like. I'm using my MAC 217. Maybe this will, yeah, that's helping more. So I think that's it for the shades from this palette that I'm going to use today. I'm going to go finish my face off camera and I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, y'all, I'm back. I'm obsessed with this look. My nails match. Wasn't on purpose. This looks so good. I'll leave all the products on my face in the description box below. So let's talk about this palette and my first impressions review of it. I was super excited when I first saw this on Instagram, and I was so excited that she was coming out with a palette that had more shades in it than her standard 10 pan palettes. But I was scared of the price tag, and the price on this is so good. I forgot to mention this. So I believe the pan sizes in this are half of the size of her normal palettes. So you can see the size difference there. So I believe they're half the size of her normal black lacquered packaging palettes, but the cost reflects that. So this retails for, I think, $78. And then you could use a code on her website. I believe it was MEGA10 for 10% off of this. I don't know if that's still available or not. If I can find that information, I'll leave it in the description box or in a comment. So the price of this was really great. When I got this in the mail and I was looking at it, I was very underwhelmed. I thought the swatches that I saw were super gorgeous, and then when I got it, I felt like it wasn't living up to the hype. But that was before I touched it, right? I didn't dive into this and touch it until I started filming this video. So after touching it, swatching it, and actually playing with it on the eyes, I am so obsessed. I feel like this is going to be a go-to palette for me this fall and maybe even into next summer, because you have a lot of brighter shades in here, like the golds and the bronzes. And then purpley shades are very springy to me. But then like the burgundy and reds and stuff are definitely more fall. So I'm super excited about this. I kind of want to film a 3 looks 1 palette video with this. So let me know in the comments below if you want to see that video or not. What do you guys think of this palette? What do you think of this eye look? Oh, I'm in love. I'm obsessed. This is very different than something I would normally create, and I'm so in love with it. Let me know your thoughts on this palette below. Did you like it? Are you going to pick it up? Do you think it's worth it? You can find more probably looks on this palette on my Instagram. That's the same as my YouTube channel name. It's at Andrea Kristen Beauty. You can also find me on Twitter at I don't remember my Twitter handle. I think it's Andrea K _ beauty. Andrea Kristen Beauty was too long for Twitter. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell. It really helps me out. I hope y'all enjoyed this video and have a great day wherever you are. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.